Okay, hello everybody, and I hope that this time everything works, because last time I was in a big trouble and wasn't able to, have the stream in the address that I wanted, and it took me about a half an hour, 45 minutes before I was able to start. And let's hope that everything is good for this stream, because it was a bit embarrassing, and sorry again about that, those who were here last time. Probably we're a little frustrated also, like I was. But let's set that aside and hope that everything goes fine. Is the audio okay? As always, I need to check, because that's another problem I've had many times. And let's see who's here. Rains Rider from North Carolina, Bill Landon from Washington State, MS Spelly 1 from Maryland, USA, Ens Dagard from Denmark. Then we have the Atom Shop. Hi there. Nice to have you here. Let's get right into the business. You're exactly right. Axel from Germany. Tony Alford from cold UK. How cold is it? Anne Kasurinen from Kuopio, Finland. Rangefinder, thank you. Sounds good. Audio okay. Audio fine. And Poland. Michael is always hard to pronounce. Polish name. Sorry about that. I won't say your last name. Wilfried Zeise is from Germany. We got Simon Zauke from Cologne, Germany. Peter Tinley from UK. Familiar names that have been sending the images. Great to see you here. And there are a few things that I have to say before we start this one. There was a little bit of a mess up with the images last time. The image that won needed to be disqualified because it was a copy of another photograph on the wall. But there is a blog post, and I will have a link in the description to the blog post where I explain how the new points were. So I'm not gonna go them through here because we got a lot of images to look at. But one new thing that you probably noticed, if you have sent an images, you need to or had to put a checkbox on a what do you call the permission for me to publish these photographs in PicDrop, and these photos won't be publicly available. I will send during the weekend. I will send an email where is the link to PicDrop, which is not really technically sponsoring this, but they provide the space for the images where I will upload them, and I will have a password for it, so it's not publicly available to everyone to see. And please don't share the password. But I will have a newsletter during the weekend when I have time to upload the images there. I will upload them week by week, so you can see what other images were sent, because I'm only showing the 10 best, so that's an interesting probably to see what others have been sending, and then maybe debating if the 10 best images was the ones that I chose, that you agree with those, and maybe you don't, and there will be a possibility to comment the images also. So it's going to be interesting to see. And PicDrop is something that I work with now, and I will have some content about PicDrop on my videos in the upcoming months, because it's a really interesting site for displaying your images. But more about that later. And let's go straight to the business and see the statistics for February. We had 94 photographers who sent images. There were a few new ones, so we lost a few from the last one, but that's always what happens, because maybe someone didn't score points and felt that it's not worth sending. But I'm telling you, it is worth sending, because you will see that there are some new people on the scoreboard this month without telling and revealing any more yet. And week 6, why there is 74 inside the brackets? That's because there were few images that went really technically landscape, so I had to disqualify the images. They were totally fine photographs, but not technically landscapes. So that's why I had had to kind of like scratch them, and unfortunately no point for that, because the rules said that if you send an image and it is within the assignment, then you get 1 point, even though if it's not in top 10, just by sending it. But if it's outside of the theme or the assignment, then it doesn't qualify. But it's not a big deal. One image here and one image there, so no problem with that. And then let's go to remind to the scorings. Well, wait a minute, there are a few things more. And 29 photographers got 29 photographers got points this month, so quite a few again. And the most popular was week 8. And then just to remind the scoring system, and there it is. And every sent image, if it is within, gets the 1 point. So if you don't think that you succeeded on that particular month, then just send the image anyways, and if it's inside the assignment, because 1 point might be crucial, because if you send 52 images, that's 52 points. That's quite a lot. If we look at last time, I have the score there. Last time I think it was something like 19 or 20 points that the best one got for January, and it is about the same here in February. So 52 points is quite a bit. It's kind of like 2 months success. So if you have the time and the energy and the dedication and the creativity, just do it. And it's not only for the point, it's also for to learn about photography, because that's the whole point of this, even though the points is making this a bit motivating for you guys, and maybe some special things for the live stream too. But then let's go to week 6 live stream, and again I will comment. And again I will comment the images and give some tips and points and why I like that particular image. And it's hopefully helpful for those who didn't this time make the top 10. Maybe it helps you guys too. And I personally like when someone talks about images. There's always a learning curve. And when I see and look at your images, I always learn something new, because there are some great photography coming up. But let's start with week 6, which is minimalistic landscape. And here, again, now I need to say about a few words that the disqualified images, they were minimalistic, but it is minimalistic landscape. And there were images that were minimalistic, but not technically landscapes. Okay, let's start with Doug Bullock's image, which is a bit of a cliche, to be honest, but well done, and really harmony in the image and calmness, and love the negative space. And this lonely tree thing in a fog is a good motive and good subject to photograph. And I personally like those images quite a bit, and it's just something that makes you calm. And this is something you could put in a room, in a study, or your office room, or whatever, just to look at it. I think these are beautiful images to look at, and you can just rest your eye on these type of images. I appreciated this. And on top right hand corner there, you can see that the first number is the points, and then it's the week, and then you have the name. So this is the way to do. And I'm sorry that I made all the images have this white border around, which is something that it's not that okay. But I wanted the text to be outside the image, and making it automatic saves times. 40 images, if I had to write it down every time, it would take a lot of time. But this way it works, in my opinion, quite well. Then we have Maria Campos, week 2 points from 6 to 10, and these are in alphabetical order. So this is not number 9, and the previous image was the number 10. They're 6 to 10. I'm not really setting them in order. But I think this image is a great landscape. And one thing that makes the image is the small head, the person in the image. And I like it that it's not in the perfect spot. It's slightly off, let's say like golden ratio or rule of thirds. And I think that works better that way. The branches on the left side, on the top left corner, is maybe a little bit too much. If that could have been avoided, that would have made the image even better. But I think this is a little bit different because of the people in that image, or the person in the image. Then we have Raquel Duarte, these fishing people in the seashore, in the beach, and the long exposure makes the kind of like a dreamy feeling of the image, and the waves on the top right hand corner looks almost like clouds, so it's kind of mixing and making. And this one was pretty close if this is a landscape or not, but it is, because it's just a vast thing, and you can see the land part in the lower left corner. So this was a close call to be considered as a landscape, but yes, I think it is a landscape anyways, and really good use of minimalistic things, two small people in the image, and then a large area of negative space. And also what makes it good is the long exposure, so that it's not tacked sharp, and you can really feel the movement of the water. Really nice image. Then we have Chris Grenny, very minimalistic, a lonely tree with some kind of like a leading lines. A road that goes like that is always something, because the eye follows the road, and then there is the little gap, and then there's the tree, and then it kind of continues and goes somewhere. And it's always when you see an image like this, you start wondering what's behind it. And then of course the aerial perspective makes the wood or the mountains in the back kind of in the fog, and that's always nice. Very nice and minimalistic. And on this image also the black and white works well, so it makes it more minimalistic in this case. Then we have Mats Karlsson, who did well last month, has again an image in top 10. And this one was also a thing that I was thinking about, the minimalistic. But yes, it is quite minimalistic. You have the unsharp tree in the front, and then you have the trees in the back, and some empty space. This is probably, debatable how good this is to cut all those trees away. But I guess that has to be some done sometimes. But, I don't know that much that I could say that if it's a good or bad thing. But yeah, I like the composition is the little geometrical with the tree, and then the diagonal line between or in the edge of the forest there. And black and white again makes it more minimalistic. I think bright colors would kind of be distracting, and it could be probably a good image, but then I don't think it would be minimalistic in the sense that I think what minimalism is. Then we have 4 points for Roland Fisher. Again, one of these cliches, lonely tree. And what I really liked about this is it seems that the horizon is tilted, even though I don't think it is. I think it's a slope. So, but that makes it a little bit awkward looking. And also I like the cropping, that it's not the conventional one. It's a little bit off because it cuts the tree, and the tree is right there on the edge. But that what it makes it more minimalistic, because you have a lot of fog and empty sky on the left side. I don't know what would have happened if there was a little bit more contrast. It's slightly uncontrasted in my opinion, so I'm not really sure if that's the best case. But I think nevertheless, I think it's a good image. If you had added the contrast there, it could have been, then the minimalistic feeling could have probably been lost. I don't know. It's hard to say, because I don't edit these at all. Of course not. It's the image that you've done. So I don't even test how it would look. Then we have this Lonely Trees by Don Goff. And again, the little trees, I think, makes the image, even though it would be minimalistic still, but it would be too abstract without the trees. And of course, you can always argue, are there too many trees or not? But I like how they are all different sizes and a little bit different looking trees. And this time of year at this place, no leaves on the trees because it's winter. And I also like the lines that goes on the field. You have these lines that go this way and then totally white negative space with the sky, and black and white again is a good choice for this because that kind of makes it more minimalistic when you take out the color. And then a little bit different again, slightly there on the edge if this is landscape or not, because you don't really see the landscape. Is this an image of these, what do you call these pipes? What do you call those? I don't know, but chimneys, other chimneys, long chimneys, yes, and probably some clouds and fog and smoke from the or whatever that comes out. And yeah, it's Wilfried Zeise, as you see, and yeah, it was a close, but I think this one is a landscape in a way, and also very minimalistic. So well done, Wilfried. Then we have Martin Bracke, and this is already the second place for this image. And this one also was a close about the minimalist because there is some quite a lot of texture in the sky. But what I liked about this is that it has the composition the way it is, that the horizon is quite low and has a lot of negative space, because negative space doesn't have to be empty. It can add to the stuff, but it cannot be too distracting or taking too much attention, and that's why the clouds are just on the borderline. But very good black and white landscape shot. And then we have Diana Theis is the winner of this week 6 images, and I like the composition on this one, and the trees, they're almost kind of like even distance to each other, and then there's a little gap there, and then the small detail, there are 3 cars right there in the left left lower corner, which kind of adds to the image, and this is, I think it's a stunning image. It's very, very good. I don't know what you guys think, if this one was the best of the 10. Of course, you haven't really seen the other almost 80 images. But as I said, I will add them to Pick Drop and send a newsletter where there's the link and the password. But yeah, and I won't go through the points on this. I will get the February points and then I will get to the total score. But let's go to week 7. And this was Decisive Moment. And let's start with Raquel Duarte, who had an image on landscape 2 and yet another 6 to 10 or top 10. This one is something that I try many times to do if there is some murals or paintings or graffitis or ads and find something similar to the actual photo. Now I'm the mural, and here you have a guy with similar color codes and then something on the neck, and then the difference is that this guy had some carrying something, and this other guy is carrying a phone. So very well spotted street photograph, in my opinion. Well done on this one. Then this little humorous image with 2 heads, and I really like the unsharpness in the front. So we have kind of like the front bokeh in a way, and then the background is nice and sharp, and then we have the person right in the spot, and they are kind of like going to the opposite way, and made me smile when I saw this image. It's a well seen photo opportunity, and I liked how close you are to the head of the fish and still have the person in the background sharp. I don't think it would have worked the other way around, so I think it was a good call to do it this way. Then we have this again, a little humorous image where the guy is between the two, and this is very good because you have 3 persons and then you have one in the back, and then someone is carrying a big, I don't know what the instrument is, cello maybe. It's probably a little kid, but you don't really see the kid, but you see the mother, and then they're waiting, and it's kind of like 2 people freezed motion, and then the middle one with the box is clearly coming towards here because you can see the position of the leg, and the perfect moment to click the shutter where you have the foot almost on the ground, but you can see that it's not, it's in the air. So I think that was a perfect time to click the shutter. And this was Dariana Tays, so she also had the second image in top 10. Danyana, sorry, that's the name, yes. Then we have, this one is Marko Vertainen. This is from Lapland, Helsinki, not Helsinki, but I think it was Rovaniemi, if I remember correctly. And this is an image where you don't know what's going on. This is the what do you call it? Snowmobiles, police on snowmobiles, and they are stopping someone, and there is a car or some sort. I don't know what's going on here, and the snow makes it interesting, and the color with the blue colors in the background and the blue color of the cops, or you can you know that it's blue, but it's, of course, on this one it's a little darker than blue, and nice light, as you can see, long shadows like it is here in the north. This time of year you get really long shadows because the sun doesn't go very up. And yeah, you start thinking, kind of like building up what's going on in this, what has happened. Well done. Then we have this humorous image again with Simon Zauke, and what I liked about this is the humor that and probably the idea that Simon had just to wait, probably pre-visualizing the thing that, okay, I will wait for someone to come and then behind there and show parts of the person. I like the color contrast, or the similar colors, not the contrast, but the similar colors with the blue thing of the, what do you call the animal? Anyways, and then the bicycle is in the background, and you don't see the head, but you see the blue hands and the blue jeans and the bike, and it made me smile, and that's why it's in top 10. And then we have this quite simple image, but well seen image. You have the dots on the it's probably a bus stop or some sort, and then you have repetition of the sidewalk, and then you have 2 lights in the back from the car, and then you have 2 circles in the bike, and then the shallow depth of field I think is quite good on this, because it would have probably been a bit too busy if it was stopped down so that it would be sharp all the way to the end. But there are a lot of similar things, like the 4 round things, and then you have the sidewalk and all that. Maybe a little contrast or something could make it better. It's a little bit uncontrasted, but yeah, it works quite well, and it's a well seen situation. Then we have this from Raul Almeida. Again, perfect moment to click the shutter. You have one person between these two, and could be a symbol of why there is someone between these 2 people. But I don't think this, I mean, in a good way, it's a kind of like a story. You start thinking about why it is, and it's just a perfect moment to click the shutter when you can see the light in front of the person in the back, and the light also. There's a slight separation. It doesn't overlap, so you can really see the shape of the person in the back. And then also the fence, it's the fence that kind of comes and adds a two lines that go together over there, and then in the perfect spot where the persons or the people are. Yeah, it raises a lot of questions. I really enjoyed this image, and it wouldn't probably work if these two people that are walking hand in hand would be on the more to the left. I don't think it would have worked at all. I think it works just perfectly this way. Well seen and executed photograph. And then we have this Bill Landon's image, which also has nice similar colors, which is always something you either color contrast works, or then you have similar colors, and then you have these two guys with white shirts, and then one guy that is looks a little bit what do you say, kind of looking a bit lazy and tired, and these two are more sharp, and they're kind of like looking at this guy, and I don't know if they're different, or if they all together, or what happens, and then he's yawning, and perfect moment to click the shutter. And also what I like about this is that the position of the leg of the guy that is yawning is, when it's like this, it looks like he's walking really slowly and tired and all that. If it was like the guy on the or not onto this one, but usually the legs, if they are like this, there is a movement, but like this, it's kind of like slow and tired. So it's a perfect spot to or time to click the shutter on this one. And then the car kind of, some might think it's a distraction, but I don't think it is, because it kind of bounces our eye back to the image. We go inside the guy with yawning, and then the white shirts, and then the car, and then we go back. So there's a kind of like a triangle, which is usually very good in an image, because that makes our kind of eye and our vision go inside the image, and it doesn't bleed out. So it keeps our interest a bit longer, and we start seeing other things. There might be something in the reflection, I don't know. That could be interesting if we really start looking at the image. But I don't think it needs that. But you always can find something. And then this red car that really takes our attention. And then there's someone getting a ticket, and then you have the dog playing around or looking at the other dog over there. So there's a lot of things going on without being too busy. I think this is a really good street photograph because of that. And then there's someone behind the guy who's giving the ticket. Behind there is someone looking in the back, and then there is the white capped lady behind the dog, and there's a lot of going on, but still it has kind of like a point, is the red car, because red is a color that we see. That's why it's in warning signs and stuff, because it is something that we really notice. Yeah, well done. And then Pete Smith had the best image on this decisive moment. And it's a stunning image, and it's taken on Valentine's Day. And if you can see, I hope you can see on the stream, you can see the guy with the red roses inside the train or metro coach, and then you have the girl in the front with the red coat, and then the red metro coach. And then one little detail is the Wi-Fi symbol as a reflection, and the guy has a phone in his hand, is looking at the phone. So there are many things that makes this a really good decisive moment. And of course, the day when it was made, I think it was also quite perfect. And yeah, that was the two first assignments, and I hope you enjoyed it so far. And what do you think so far of the images? What's your take on these images so far? We still have two categories left, or two assignments left, week 7 and week 8, and there are some interesting surreal selfies coming up, which is was the hardest to judge, because there were some really good images on that. And let's move on so we can. Yeah, Simon Zauke says that great images so far with different styles. Yeah, that's a good point, because I really enjoy the different styles that you have made, because you all 94 photographers are different photographers, but the same assignment and still totally different approaches. Maybe the minimalistic is something that was quite similar, quite a lot of similar images, and it was hard to think. But that's of course because it's such a in a way a strict thing what minimalism is. But still there were some differences. And Michael from Poland, sorry, I'm not gonna try to say your last name, it's too hard. Love to see different approaches to the topics. Yeah, that's exactly the point. I hope you guys learn something, and get ideas and creativity and see that how other things, because all these images come from different parts of the world, and that also makes the style and the image is different, because we all have different backgrounds, and that also affects the thing how we see. And also this is something that I always say when you do these assignments: try to be creative and break the boundaries to a certain point. Of course, if it goes too much, then it might lose it. It's not anymore about the assignment like what it happened in some of the images. But still, I think this is a great way of learning and looking at the images. And when I get them to the pick drop, you have more images to look at. And I hope you have time to go and look at those images, because it's always a learning curve to see what others and how others think. And then let's see, week 7 I think we are in. No, sorry, week 8. That's what it was. And this one was about texture in an old thing, an old whatever, and vintage stuff. And it was all about the texture, and I think this one is all about texture and a little bit old, and maybe hopefully a lot used football that someone had been playing, or is it a football or a handball or whatever? Anyways, a ball. And yes, and on this one with textures you really need some light or contrast so that you can really see the texture. And on this one I think you can, and you can also see the different leather. There is no leather on the front, and then you have the white parts, which is different, and you have the the wear and tear, and in the background you have, or in the back on the top of the ball you have something there with that is nicely separated from the background, and then the grass has some texture. So this was well done. It was Martin Bracke who took this image. Then we have Raquel Duarte, a third image in top 10, which was quite astonishing. Not quite made it to top 5, but having these 3 images in 6 to 10 is really remarkable, and you can really see the texture on the hands and the nails and the jewelry and everything. And on this one also the light is the key. You need to have a certain type of light that has direction so that you can see the texture in the hands and on all the wrinkles and stuff. And hands are really interesting. And I think, if I don't recall wrong and I remember right, I think it's next month we will see more hands, because I think there was a portrait that shows the people's personality with photographing their hands, and that's not an easy task. But yeah, maybe the only downside on this image is that the light is a little bit too harsh, and that's probably why it wasn't in top 5 images. But yes, really well done as an idea. Then we have this quite simple image from Pascal Giguère, and you can really see the texture in the background, which I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a chalkboard, and then you have the different color chairs, and I really enjoy the subtle saturation of the image. It probably desaturated a little bit, but then you have a really strong red, which is also the one that has the least texture, but then you have the texture in the front and texture in the back. And then of course the background is perfect for this and really makes the colors to pop out. And this one is I think it's almost like fine art if you look at the image. You could have this, you know, framed and put on the wall. It would make a nice, like someone says, like a painting. I think it is for this image. I'm not sure because there is a little bit of a lag, so I'm not quite sure always which image you're talking about. Then we have this from Ari Tiedenberg. This drill is really well lit, and you can really see the different materials. You see the wooden handle, and then you see the metal drill and the metal parts, and you can really see from the image what the material is. So it's well lit image probably in a studio. I really enjoyed this, and you know the light's nice. Of course, little bit bigger lights could have made the reflection slightly a bit longer, but you know, I think it works quite well like this. Yeah, a little bit different approach to the texture. Then we have this it's either oranges or onions, lemons, I was going to say. And what I like about this is that the texture comes from the backlit scene. If you see it on the right side, you can see through the slice, and that kind of adds to the texture. And then you have also the front one is a little bit brighter than the ones on the back, which also gives some depth to the image where you have layers made with light. And I think it works quite well on that. And I'm not usually a big fan of totally black backgrounds, but I think it works quite well on this. Wait a minute, excuse me. All right, let's continue with the contrast with the bright yellow color. A little bit different approach again. I think nicely seen image. And then this one is from Pete Smith, who also had an image in the previous assignments. I like the light on this, and you know, this texture wouldn't be coming out or visible if the light wasn't really down low from that behind the bench or wooden board or table or whatever that is. And the moss, is that moss, the green stuff? Moth, was it? I don't know. Not really sure what it is. It's sammalta in Finnish anyways. And the green color on this one makes it, and the nice contrast. And then what's also good about it is that the light is on the wooden surface, and then the background is slightly darker, but you can still see the details in the back. And I think on the stream, at least on my screen, this new software that I'm using for these streams, because I ditched the OBS because it didn't work last time, so I'm using another one. Moss, says Anna Kasuren. It's a good thing that another Finn teaches us about the English words. Thank you, Anna. But yeah, the direction of the light is the key here. And of course the subject matter. It's a little abstract. You really don't know what it is. Some wooden board anyways, table, bench, or something. But well done, Pete. Then there's a little similar image with a little bit better background. I like the background when kind of like the texture takes you to the mansion, castle, or whatever is in the background. And this narrow depth of field kind of is a good choice for this particular image. And you can really see the texture. This is probably maybe a stairs or some sort. I don't really sure what it is, or a boardwalk or something. But yeah, it's a nice and abstract, and I really like the leading lines and the perspective that goes into the middle. But then the subject, I don't know if it is, because there is someone in the right there behind the right there in the middle. What am I showing there? You can't see it. But yeah, you can see there's a little reddish. Maybe there's a hat or something, and I like that. But then the eye goes towards the castle, which I like. It's a great composition, and you know, going down and low, and you know, not only photographing from the eye level, but going down and you know, really thinking and looking. And it's nice image. Whoops! I wonder why the text is so big on this one. There must be a mistake in the exporting the image. But yeah, then we have this texture on the bucket and the probably a water pump, and then we have some texture in the foreground, and then the little extra thing is the light that comes between the branch and the gate or the fence. It's actually, yes. And also like the perspective with the wide angle shot. Quite cool. Then we have Pete Hagen, the second place on this category or this assignment. And yeah, we're talking about old stuff, vintage, and then you have the kind of like a time, which is, of course, you could think that I was thinking that you would have more this type of images. But no, which is actually quite good, because too many would have kind of been a bit boring. But having one of these and really nicely done, it works real well, and you can really see the texture and the wear and tear on this particular image. And I also like the color tones, and I like the light on this one, since you have a little dark in the lower right hand corner. And yeah, it was Pete Hagen who took this image. Or made it, actually. Yes, this one works quite well also. And then Richard Foucher, the best image on this, and really well done, and striking colors, a little off and looks a bit odd, the colors, but that makes it good, because the striking blue, I don't know if it has blue, because I only know 3 colors, R, G, and B. This might be, I don't know, some kind of purple, turquoise, violet. I don't know what the color is, but it looks good. And the blade of I think it's one of those shaving things where you, yeah, it is, because you have the brush in the top, and you have texture on the brush, and you have some texture on the surface where the knife is, and then you have the texture on the blade itself. I think it works really well. Yeah, this one was the best from week 8. Now we have one more assignment to look at, and so far I think, yeah, thanks Ron, it's Straight Razor is the image. That's what it was. Yeah. So, yeah, it's gone really well this time. No glitches on the stream yet. This new software seems to work better than the previous one. At least for now. Let's see how it goes. Maybe I yinxed the whole thing. And now we are in week 9, and this is Surreal Self-Portrait. And now I have to say a special applause to Raquel Duarte. She had all her images in top 10. But maybe next month she'll have them in top 5. Now it's a good start. I think it was the only one that has, and this is really great. And the position of the eye is just perfect between the clear part of the glass, and you know, the dark hair kind of makes the frame around her face, and then but we still can't see the face, because I think it was a self-portrait without, it's a real self-portrait without showing her face, and we can see the eye, but not the face. It's kind of like incognito in that sense. And then I like that there is some white in the color here, because that kind of lifts the head. If that was black, then it would have been a little bit too odd. But I think the glass and the distortion that comes from the glass makes the image real cool. And then we have this from Maria Reis, which looks like either long exposure or multiple exposure, and makes, real surreal, no face. And maybe, I don't know, maybe colors could be, wacky colors could make this even better, but I think it works quite well on this one. And then maybe some more light in the body part, and I'm glad that there is the hand, otherwise it would have been too much black, I think, too much darkness in the image. But I think it really works well. I don't know how many images there are, like 1, 2, 3, 4 I see at least. I think 4 images I think I see there stacked together. And if you make these type of images, I don't think doesn't really matter if you make it in camera or in post. It's all about the final result anyway. But if you have a multiple exposure possibility in your camera, then it's something fun to play around with, and you can find some new things, like similar things as you would photograph through a glass or something. You can get some reflection type thing going on, and I think that could make a nice project also, if that's something that you're interested in, making something different. Then this image is also looks like a been talking too much today because I made a few videos today, so I've been talking quite a bit. Yeah, this is 3 different layers. You have the kind of like it looks like one of those things that you put on a front door that way you can see if someone's coming. The old-fashioned, not the electronic ones, but just the little ovisilmä, what we say in Finnish. And then you have the eye there, and then you have some blinds in the back and outdoors. So you have a lot of layers, and real surreal, because you don't really figure out what's all this. It could be also a multiple exposure, I'm not sure, or maybe it's done in post. It doesn't really matter. So well done anyways, Peter Tindley. Peephole. All right, it was that peephole. Okay. Then we have this Marko Vertainen, who had also 2 images on this. This was like, what's going on here? He's really made some effort in the studio when he made this image, and it is surreal. It looks like the head is like gone around to the back, with probably done with the wig, I guess. I don't think he's able to twist his head like that. And then you have the yellow thing on the cross here. Then you have the bandana in the head, and the light there, and then you have this socks that doesn't fit at all, in my opinion, which is just makes it surreal. And then some stuff on the ground, old game, Nintendo, what do you call those little game devices? And yes, very surreal and fun image, and I especially like that there's been a lot of effort to do this. It doesn't, just a click of a button. You really have to think about and make the time to do this. And then this Simon Zauke's image I really enjoyed, with all I think it's some images that he has put on his head and then made the selfie. And I like very much the color tone on this, that it's little, desaturated colors. It makes it more interesting and more, in a way, more surreal. Another approach would have been really high contrast and really bright colors. But I think this one works quite well, and it's a little bit off the convention that you would think with the colors. And also I like that there is the images are not so obvious you can't really see what it is. There's a bike, but then all the other images are a little bit blurry in a way. But then there is this image in the middle with the red shirt and sunglasses and a nice haircut. it's really done. And what I also appreciate this is that Simon had put a lot of thoughts, and this doesn't like, you don't do this image in a minute just to grab your camera and click the shutter. You have to really think and plan and then make the image. It's not easy to make this. I enjoyed this image a lot. Yeah, Anne Kasurinen is saying selfie is on selfie. That's probably what it is. We don't know. Then we have this image from Cliff Collins, which I think is quite clever, where you're looking at mirror and then you don't see the face, and it's just surreal in a way. And I also like the jacket with the squares and different colored squares, and the hat, and then you have the same person. This is probably image editing, but it doesn't matter. That's what surrealism, you really need to do that sometimes if you want to make an image like this, because otherwise I don't think it would work. Yeah, this one was also quite nice. Then we have Rainer Vogel's image, which is, yeah, you can say that this is surreal, really surreal image. And I think in a way it's also quite to the tradition. This is something that you have in mind. And when you see surreal, that's what I would see if I was thinking about surreal. You see, of course, you could think about Salvador Dali, but that's a cliche. But this one, I think, is kind of inspired by many different surrealistic artists in a way, and the bright colored or the bright blue colored sky with the interesting clouds, and then the hat. It's just like it's supposed to be really wacky and like what on earth, why? And I think that's why it's gotten 5 points. Then we have this Margaret Wong's image, which is real surreal because you don't really know where she is. Probably in the triangle in the middle there, or not a little bit on the left side. And then you have some projector there, and then you have other people's, and you have reflections and different colors. And this is real surreal, and you could totally see that if someone is seeing surreal visions because maybe taking some substances or some illegal stuff eaten, then you would probably see something like this, I would imagine. I don't know. So that's why it's quite high in the ranks on this particular assignment. Then we have Richard Foucher, a second image, quite high. I think he won the one, and now he's second on this one, so that was well done. And real surreal with the gloves and everything, and the surgeon's scissors, and cutting out the face, and there's some nature in the face, and then the blue colors and the neon things around the thing, and then you have the masks, and totally bizarre image, which is the reason it is this high up, and also did a lot of effort to do this and plan this, and then I also like on the right side there is kind of like a floating hand, which is a little creepy, and this is wacky. I just love this type of stuff, that people really kind of throw themselves into the whole assignment and whole thing real well. And then we have this Jens Degaard's image, surreal, and I think the repetition of that, the light, and then you have all these different distortions and some reflections, and there's so much going on. And I think this one just was the best one. It's visually pleasing, and it's a way, it has some photographic compositional things that are just right, and then the lower the shallow depth of field and the color contrast and everything, I think, was in place on this. It just works. I think it's the best one on this one. So congrats, Jens. Nice image. And then we have the 4 best ones from, or the winners of all the categories next. And you know, it's really hard to compare images from different type of assignments because they were so different. But you know, it's just what we have to, or I have to do, and which is not always the easiest task to do. And we have here the 4 best ones. This one was from the week 6. Diana Tays. Then we had this Pete Smith's Decisive Moment image. Then we have the texture from Richard Faucher. And then we had the Surreal self-portrait from Jens Degard. And I don't know if you guess which one is the best, but I really think this one was a masterpiece because this works in so many levels. It's a stunning landscape, it's a stunning minimalistic image, and I think it's art. You could frame this and put on the wall and have this really huge print, and it would be something that you could watch a long time just to, you know, it makes you calm, and you know, it has so many good things that what we when we think about what is a good photograph. And it's also a little bit unconventional way of making the composition, as you have like 90% of the image is just empty, but then you have the trees that are really important part of the image. But I know this is always a subjective thing, and since you know I'm running this, so it's my call. I know you could probably think that someone else would have picked something else on this, but it's always a good. But remember that the most important thing is to learn about photography. It's not about competition, and I was a little astonished myself that I actually assigned or made this assignment as a competition, because I don't believe that you can compete with photographs. But I think the point system makes it more interesting, and maybe it pushes you a little bit to be in the top 10 of each assignment, because it's not easy, because the quality of the images is really something else. And I was really happy to see all this. And of course we have March going on, and already I think the second assignment is almost done, and the third one for March is on its way. And I hope I can have time on August to have a live stream. Most likely I will. And what would be interesting to hear it is that now that you have 1 week's time to send the images, is that too long, or could it be shorter so that I could have the live stream like a week earlier maybe? Just let me know in the comments or in the chat, and I will probably ask it in the newsletter or make a poll or something, because that's something that could be a better thing to have it this a bit earlier. And okay, and then let's see what the February's score was. Let's see if this works. Yes, it works. And Richard Faucher and Diana Tays both got 19 points. Pete Smith got 16. Jens Degard 13. And then there was Martin Bracke, Peter Hagen, and then Despande Sid Hart. And then there were 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th places. You had several photographers, and so quite a good crowd, and but special applause to Raquel Duarte. She had 4 images in top 10, which is the record so far. 8 points altogether. That was really something, because that actually takes some skill to nail all the assignments. It's not just pure luck. You might win one just for pure luck, but you having 4 images in top 10. I think it was astonishing. I was really surprised. And when I look at these images, I always look at the images so that I don't know who's the photographer, because I don't want that to be, anything that affects, or so I look them anonymously, and then after I pick the 10 best, then I checked out who they are when I write down the points and stuff. And then the total score after January and February is follows. We got Richard Foucher with 25 points, who I think he got about 18 points this time. And then Diana Tyson, Wilfred Zeise, Jim Bauer, Mats Karlsson, Pete Smith, Raquel Duarte is on 4th place. And then we have several from Rainer Vockel 5th and Jens Degard 6th. And then we have in 7 to 9, we have several ones. And then the 10th was Arit Tiidenberg. There's one Finn in top 10, which is always good. But yeah, I think it was quite different. Like you had comments here that it's a lot of different types. And as I said earlier, what I really like is that people are sending these images from all over the world, and they have different cultures, different way of thinking, and they have different lives, and everything is so different compared to different, let's say, Europe and South America, North America, Asia, Australia, South Africa, North Africa, whatever. They are all different. They are all rich cultures in their own way, and I think that shows in here, because the variety of images and the variety of interpretation of the assignments is just great. And I think that's where I'm learning a lot and seeing and really enjoy, and I'm happy about that, the dedication that most of you and almost all of you are taking, real passionate about photography, which makes me really very happy, because I think it's the best thing to do in the world, among other things, but it's one of the best things anyways, is photography, because it's such a joy, and I'm so happy that you're enjoying photography and taking part of this and learning to be better, because you can of course you can only enjoy photography, but then why not enjoying it and getting better, because also progress is a great enjoyment, at least for me, getting that one shot that you were really happy. And it doesn't really, when you go out and photograph, whatever, if it's a photo walk or a trip or whatever it is, it just takes one keeper from that makes me happy. At least I might take, let's say, like, go to a photo walk, I might take 100 photographs, and there's one that I'm really happy about, and that makes my day. So it doesn't have to be 100 great images, but just one. And sometimes I don't get any, but yeah, I still had some fun and tried and learned something about, and maybe I can do it better next time. And I think that's the most important thing. But yeah, I think we have covered everything for this one, and I will send you an email newsletter during the weekend where I have a link to PickDrop. Let me see there it is, to PickDrop website, and a link to the gallery where are all the February images into 4 different galleries, and I will put a password so it's not a public gallery, and please don't share that password to others, because I want this to keep between us, and these images are not meant to be public. If you want to show your own image to people that you made, that's totally up to you, because of you. Of course, you can do whatever you want with the images, and I won't use them to any other purpose than showing them. And I also will figure out how to make the scoreboard maybe a Google sheet that you can go and see and just check, because of course there might be a mistake in the scoring point, especially if for those that get 1 point by sending the image, I might miss some of the shots, but I hope I have done everything correctly. I will go through that, of course, very carefully every month. But hey, I think we're all set for this, and Thanks for watching, and bye for now.